Hi, I'm Rachel,
I'm Julia.
where we live in faith every day.
This is life.
Welcome to life.
But I realize you need to because people who just jump to relationship, right? I realize they don't have an identity. They lost their identity.
Their relationships, right, became an addiction.
Right. And so they don't know how to be independent because they're always dependent on the relationship.
Someone else, yeah.
Or not even just someone else, just a relationship. They just like that relationship.
They can't be alone.
Right. Or maybe, although it's very frustrating for them, like it's toxic.
Yeah.
They like that
Toxin. It's because that's what they're used to. They're trying to be around people to distract themselves from whatever issues that they may be feeling or traumas that they're trying to run away from. And then it becomes an addiction. An addiction is anything to try to cover up or run away from whatever it was like bothering you, right? Like for example, you have a test coming up.
Right.
A very big exam coming up, right? You're like, okay, I really, really need to study for this, but it stresses you out, right? Some people will be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna have a really good meal and I am gonna go all out on whatever, right? And then you're like all stuffing it in, right? And you're like, oh, I feel good, right? And then you're like, oh man, I have to study after ice cream. Right? So it becomes an addiction to cover up whatever stressful environment or something stressful in your mind that you're trying to cover up. And I feel like that's what they're doing with relationships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just so common too. But that's also, I feel like addictions separate us from God. It really does. Like,
not just God, but from being honest with ourselves.
Right. And again, that comes with, loving yourself, like God has loved you, and then love others like you love yourself.
Yes.
So you lose the connection with God because God is love.
Yeah.
And love is God. And man, addiction, it can be anything, not even just relationships, right?
It can be sugar, shopping,
Food, alcohol, drugs.
Those are the most obvious ones.
Well, yeah, because when we say addictions, you guys think about immediately alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. Alcohol and drugs, yeah, because we put it like, oh, those are addictions.
And they're terrible sins, and you're gonna go to hell if you do these things.
I promise you, you're probably gonna see some people up in heaven if you go to heaven that drink and still trying to recover.
Drink like a whale.
Anyways, besides the point.
Yeah.
Like, even like, there's workaholics, chocoholics. There's, addiction to, I don't know, like.
We talked about this.
collections.
Yeah. We talked about this before in a video.
I don't remember which one, but.
Yeah. But we did talk about it. But anything can be an addiction. Anything. If it is trying to help you distract you from what it is that you actually need to focus on, then it's an addiction. Dramas, TV, listening to music, going to clubs,
Sleeping.
focusing on studying, right? Studying, work. She mentioned work, right? Workaholics, eating, food. Me, shopaholic, right?
Me, workaholic.
Yeah. See, so anything can be a
Addiction.
addiction. A addiction. An addiction.
I know, I was about to say and then I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, but not only that, but you can be addicted to religion, right?
That sounds kind of weird, huh?
But it's true.
Actually, a lot of, well, not, okay, yeah.
Some people.
There's a very good few people that can get addicted to religion. And I feel like there's a lot of people that are almost there. too.
It's closer to obsession than addiction.
Right.
It's a little bit different, but it's in the same category, right?
It's like that danger.
Yeah, danger zone.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Again, not spiritual, but religion. It's being addicted to religion. Being like, oh, Bible, 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 Bible. I need to live this way, this way, this way, this way, because the Bible tells me I need to go and spread the gospel. I need to, do this. I need to do that. I need to,
Okay, at that point, is that for God, really? You really have to think about this, because Bible is God's word.
Yeah.
Spreading the gospel, witnessing is God's work. But is it really for God's will? Is it for God?
Or is it for you?
Yeah, is it? You might be thinking, oh, it is for God's will. You want to think it that way, right? We want to think it that way. That's why we have to reevaluate ourselves every day. Even if it's not an addiction, we might be doing something, thinking, oh, yeah, it's God's will, but what if it's not? It's for you. You're covering it up with something else.
Okay, so here's the best question that you can ask to see if it really is an addiction. And the question is, are you trying to run away from something? So by running away, you run towards religion or whatever it is? Or can you be true with yourself and say, wow, okay, these experiences were really harmful and really hurtful, and I need to heal from those, right? And then utilizing that, being true to yourself, and by being true to yourself, you're being true to God, and with it, you're doing God's work.
Yeah. So, okay, for me personally, I actually started serving the church. It was like the wrong approach to it. But at the same time, I'm glad I approached it that way. I think it's okay to approach it to a certain degree. Like when I was like at rock bottom of my life, I realized I had nothing else but to reach out to God, right? But it wasn't a true relationship. It was me just kind of using God, using religion as a way to heal almost. So I would be like serving in the church, like, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, because I serve at the church, I'm like a good Christian, right? In my head, I was thinking that, right? But not until I realized recently, like, man, I didn't approach religion or God or like, even my spiritual life the right way. It was more of to cover up my past wounds, right?
Right.
Like, all the drama and all
all your mistakes, stuff
things.
like that.
I was basically, still healing. I was using it as a healing tool. And then when I started realizing that and accepting that, and sharing with my friends, and I realized I've accepted it, and I really truly wanted a relationship with God, and I made that happen. And I was like, wow, God actually showed me something through this. And you don't realize it until later. And sometimes people have to tell you. I actually realized this through a sermon. So I'll listen to a sermon and I'm like, wait, do I really have a relationship with God? Although I'm serving the church, do I have a relationship with God? It's not for God's will. Because I didn't even know what God's will was. And I was like, I was just doing this to make myself feel better. And then...
So at that point, were you able to kind of face what it was that you were running away from?
Oh, yeah. Honestly, like, because of that, I don't want to say addiction. Okay, addiction. Because of that addiction, I healed from whatever it was, but accepting it was obviously hard. Because, I lied to myself, and I've also, lied to others and lied to God. So I'm just like, I never had a true relationship with God, And this goes for a lot of people that say, I'm a Christian. Are you really? Yeah, you might be doing great service to the church, but are you doing it for the right reasons? And I'm guilty of it. I am.
I think everybody is. I've noticed a lot of leaders or people who are working in the church, that's what they exactly did. right? They were using religion, they were running back to the church and like trying to get away from whatever bad influences it was that they were in, and like they're trying to start anew and start healing in the church. And I noticed some people, okay, only a few of those people are able to face their past and heal from it, but most of them cannot. And I see them bringing groups of people, church, because some of these people are pastors and some of these people are leaders, down the wrong path.
That's true. So I think you have to be really careful with this. And really, again, we say self-reflection, but it's super important to self-reflect. I think whether you have an addiction or not. And you know, if you think you're in that, you know, what we explained about, you know, I described how it is to be addicted to religion. I explained my personal experience on it. It's okay, you know. Just know it's okay as long as we able to accept that. That's step one, acceptance, right? With any addiction, honestly, if you go to like, I don't know, but I see in movies when they go into those like groups.
AA, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like the first thing is you have to accept, you know?
Just learn to accept that that's your past, right? And it made you who you are.
Yeah. You actually become stronger. And I think with my experience, my relationship, that made me realize how amazing God is. Because although I was using God was always there. God is unconditional love. And that, you know, even now I'm just like, wow, he never left me, although I was using him. And that's when you know, wow, God is real, God is love, you know, no matter what. And when I realized that in stronger relationship and I want more from him and more of his love, then what happens is you end up doing work for his will.
The right way.
Right? Not for you, but for his will. And you start seeing yourself like catching certain things like, oh, wait, I don't think that's what God wants me to do. Oh, I think this is for myself, with a lot of self-reflection.
Or wait. That does not line up with what the Bible has to say.
Right. And then you start thinking, wow, I came from addiction. And then non-addiction.
Yeah. So what it becomes is addiction is all about you. The focus is you, right? So then it becomes the focus from you to God. Because then you start sacrificing your things or yourself or your needs for God's work. So then it's not about you, it's about him and his will. And what he wants.
Beautiful, like this transformation you can go through, like it's just really great. And then when you see that, you know, my friends, when they tell me like when they saw that change, especially like when they saw me from the very like before the like drama or like trauma or whatever to during the trauma and after the trauma, right? They're like, wow. You know, they definitely saw that change. And when I hear that, I'm like, you know, that made me even realize even more. Wow, God, you are so good. You know? And I think with that being said, with God, you can overcome any addiction.
Yes.
Really, like, God he's, I don't know how to say this.
But here's the thing, right? Okay, so yes, everybody has an addiction, right? And some people have this really hard addiction on like the hard stuff, right? But then as time goes on, their addictive items change to lesser and lesser and lesser harmful, hardcore stuff. Like for example, right? For me, it was like relationships and with other people and all of this stuff, right? Okay, that's the hard stuff, right? Now it's more like, okay, if I am needing an addiction of something, right? It would be Korean dramas, right? Or stuff like that. So when I start self-evaluating myself, because again, some of these things happen in your subconscious and unconscious. So you have to look for your symptomologies, right? So for me, when I'm just like, okay, I am binge watching on Korean dramas, right? I'll be like, ding, 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 ding. something is off. And then I have to evaluate myself. Okay, is there anything that I am trying to run away from? Right? So again, like she mentioned, a lot of self-evaluation, you have to learn to know yourself. So in a sense, you kind of have to have a relationship with yourself.
You do. And you know, it's really hard because when you're addicted to something, you don't know, like, you know, you lose your identity. And then that's starting that relationship. Just like you would start with anyone, like in your relationship, it's hard.
Yeah.
It really is. Especially with yourself. Because you have to really be like, you know, yo, what's up?
Yeah. You have to kind of, you need to learn to be able to accept yourself for who you are, warts and all. Bad past or not, your bad behaviors, what you did before, your bad self, your sad self, your anger self, your completely wounded self. Learning to understand that about yourself and accepting all of it as who you are.
Yep.
Because all of that creates you. And if you can learn to accept that, you can learn to not lie to yourself and then accept others just the way they are.
Yep.
No judging, no
Here comes
pointing fingers,
the
love, right? So it has to start with you.
Yeah.
God already accepts you for who you are. Now the question is, do you believe it or not?
Right. Are you willing to accept that or not?
But for you to get over an addiction is to be as true with yourself and not lie to yourself and be honest with yourself.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section, comment section below.
If you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
And if you haven't subscribed, please do so. And hit that bell button
Yay.
to be notified of videos like this one. And till next time, bye guys.